Hey, what's up, you guys? Film Fan 0599 here again. We're doing an interview today. If you saw earlier today on the University of the Blue Tubers, I reviewed a certain mixtape called Desired Feelings. I'm here with the man behind that mixtape, and that is Mr. Auburn Wanderer. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you very much. How are you today?
I am great, sir. I am quite fantastic. Your mixtape was really good, sir. I quite enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So first question: how do you feel with this being out in the open now? Basically your child. Your child is out in the open right now.
Um, I mean, it's a weird feeling because I put it out an hour early. I was supposed to put it out at 5 o'clock, and I was interested to see how it did because I decided to promote everywhere else except for YouTube, which I know a lot of people might find that weird, but it's like, I mean, I probably would have had more hype next time. I don't think I'm going to promote on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, But I mean, I kind of did by doing singles, but I never really announced a mixtape. So I was kind of like, oh, it's not gonna get a lot of views, but like I had a lot of people in school because I was promoting it a lot on Snapchat and Instagram. Because those are where I knew I was gonna get like the main, like promotion out of it. Like, I did this like as kind of like a business look at it too, because I
Yes.
want people to hear it, obviously.
Yeah. Definitely.
Once I get algorithm to listen to it, so
Mhm.
I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking I'm gonna put it on an hour early. I think I'm gonna get more, I guess you could say, views that way. And other people are gonna be like, that's greedy, but it's like, I want people to listen to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I put
Yeah.
it out, I was like, man, I hope people like this. And from the reception so far, it seems like a lot of people are really like it. Um,
Mhm.
and a lot of people, especially like the worst loving,
Yes.
which which I'm really surprised by, but I guess that's a good thing. This is really personal for me, this mixtape, and when I put it out, it was like kind of like giving a part of myself up, I guess you could say. It
Yeah.
like what the mixtape that's about, which I'm going to go into here, was like a big thing, a part of my life last year. It
Yes.
took me a very long time to be able to cope with my feelings and come to terms with it,
Yes.
and I want to make this mixtape about the whole situation, but I didn't know what to do with it. It was very unfocused, and then I finally was able to come to terms with what was going on in my life
Yes.
and make this piece of project. So putting it out was a very emotional moment for me. And I'm happy it's out. A lot of people really like it. Some people I did not expect to like it actually really like it. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy.
That is wonderful to hear. So, the next question I want to kind of ask you is, what was the inspiration for this? What did any like music artists, etc.? Did anybody like have any inspiration on this? Any music artists at all?
Originally I was gonna put it out on June 8th because it was Kanye West's birthday on June 8th.
Yes.
And he's the biggest inspiration for this mixtape.
Hmm.
He is my favorite artist of all time. And I 808s and Heartbreak is my third favorite album of all time. And that album is the only album that when I look back on my favorite albums of all time is the one that I have the most emotional connection to, especially because of the situation I went through, which this mixtape's about. I was able to connect to the most, and I took a lot of inspiration from that. Also, Daft Punk, specifically Human After All, which is my favorite album by them.
Yes.
Um, I love how raw and aggressive and emotional and just
Hmm.
well crafted that album is, even though it was made in like 6 weeks.
Yes.
Um, I think it's just a great album. I also took a lot of inspiration from The Weeknd, Able to Testify, specifically Be Behind the Madness, and a little bit of Trilogy, or like Thursday. Um, and this almost the biggest influence was Frank Ocean, specifically Blonde. I told you this in private, but Blonde is where, when I heard that, that's where I wanted to make this mixtape. 808s and Heartbreak came from lyrically, a bit sonically. Uh, the Weekend came in more or less. Um, I guess you could just say conceptually, and then
Yeah.
Daft Punk was just like more production wise and more like emotionally,
Yeah.
cohesiveness. So.
Definitely. So, so yeah. So if you want to go into kind of like the making of this, what was the process like of making this mixtape?
So I wanted to make it, like I said, in August after her blonde. I was like, you know what? I want to make this what I'm going through as a project. Um, and I'm happy I didn't like make it then because where I am now, I feel like it's finally concluding. So I had the idea, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make this for 20 more years. Um, because I knew that I would have more production. I want to make this very like thematic album, like The Wall or like Tommy or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like I guess you could say something like Sergeant Pepper's, just something very dramatic and very loud and
Yeah, just something
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
and like
theatrical, I guess you could say.
experimental, which I mean,
Yeah.
but I decided, you know what, I kind of just want to make this now. I'm gonna try to. So had GarageBand on my phone, which a lot of people are gonna be familiar with this. I made this entire thing on GarageBand, and I produced this thing by myself. I had no help on this at all, which a lot of people find impressive. Which I mean, I guess it is, but I don't think it's that big of a deal personally.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember it was in October or November. I can't remember the exact date.
Okay.
I one night said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna fool around in GarageBand because I couldn't come up with one goddamn melody because I don't know how to play a single instrument. I
Yeah.
only know how to work drum machines and synthesizers. Next up, thing you know, in 2 hours I had a little track called Ever Since That Day.
Yes.
Which you know about this because I sent that to you the moment I finished it
Yes, you
uh,
did.
as a demo, and then I released it the next day.
Yes.
Um, and that was actually and then I'm like to myself, this is gonna be the first track on my mixtape. And then the second track I started the next day was called Leopard, which is on the mixtape. That's the second track, but Ever Since Day is the closing track. Um,
Yes.
and I kind of forgot about the whole like concept of what I wanted it to be throughout. And then after that, I kind of like stopped working on it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, I was to stop working on it. I was losing my mind, but then like one night I made a little song called Freebird. Then I made another song called Compromise Piece. Then I made a song called Insanity Settlement Interlude, and all these other little tracks on the deeper cuts.
Yeah.
Um, and then I said to myself, "Wow, I actually have a pretty good body of work here." I had some little B sides and shit like that, which were complete trash.
Yeah.
Um, but like I like this actually is turning out a lot better than I expected. And maybe I should just put this out and make myself, holy shit, I could actually make what I wanted to make, this desired thing. So I had the title in my mind since
Yeah.
blonde. I want to make something called Desired Feelings. And I'm like, holy crap, I can make this now. So I did. Um, so it took a lot of work. Here's how the process went most times.
Okay.
I made a drum beat out of a drum machine, and then I fooled around with tons of synthesizers. I changed like the octaves, whatever the hell that's called, and I changed like the pitching and the tuning and shit like that.
Yes.
I made sure every single note was a major C because I had some advice from someone to not fool around with any minor notes. Just do major C. I'm gonna try and edit ever majors because it's only use chords and stuff like that. Don't fool around with notes. This is your first time you're producing it by yourself. Just do that. Be very basic. So that's kind of what I did. I just had a drum loop, a drum machine editing it, and then I tried to do synthesizers, and then I would use like bass and stuff like that, and maybe incorporate some like actual drum sets and some guitar. Some I tried using like percussion, didn't really work. So
Mm-hmm.
most times once because if you notice a lot, it's very minimal production, but I think a lot of sounds kind of sound loud and booming and very aggressive. Like Detective Madness is a very basic song, especially the first part, which literally is just a drum beat and then like some type of synthesizer I used that has like a really high pitch to it. Um, and if you listen to it closely, like Detective Madness, if you're not being overcome, which I think a lot of people are being overcome by how loud and dramatic it is in the beginning.
Yeah.
It is more so in the second part, but it's like in the first part, if you really listen to it, it's not that much really. It kind of sounds a bit flat.
Yeah.
But I think I had enough emotional connection to the project that I was able to make it grand and big. So that, and I told us too, I think the best track on the album might actually be Attack of Madness because I think it's the one that's most developed and fleshed out.
Yeah.
Um, So
I agree. I think that's the best track as well.
yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of just how the process was, just making drum beats, synthesizers, fooling around. Um, I mean, the rage
Yeah.
was it was I think the rage was probably the one I had the most fun making because I made that track like a month before the mixtape. Like I started developing a month before the mixtape came out actually because
Uh-huh.
I realized, you know, I want to have like one. I want to be like 14 tracks at least. And I'm like to myself, I want to have one more track of me, you know, like being fired up. What I did was I took like a typical bass. I really forgot the instruments I used. I'd have to look. I took like a bass lead.
Mm-hmm.
I took another one, and it sounded really good in my opinion. Then, which at the beginning of the track, then I had that beat come in, and I was just like, okay, this is it. I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound like a fucking like yeah, fed up. Like I'm not raging.
Yeah.
It's not catchy. It's just flat and boring. There's no emotional development in this. Emotional engagement. So I took some like really high pitched like something like that. Very I just got a harsh like sound that came out sometimes. I really forget what I used. I used like a Polaris or Helix, just like that dance anthem, whatever is on fucking GarageBand. And I came up with that do, and I
Yeah.
thought, and when I heard that go along with the rest of the instrumentation, I was like, this sounds really fucking dope. And I made the rage. That's probably it was fun because I was like, this is fun to make. The hardest one to make was Leopard. Oh my freaking god!
Well, it is the longest song on the album. It is a multi-part song, so I can't imagine.
That's not why it was hard actually.
Oh,
The
really?
hard part was with the ending
Oh, okay.
because I had the first part done and then I had the second part done
Mm-hmm.
for so long, and you knew this process. I did not know how to end it because I
You're
said
very
myself, oh, I
conflicted
just
about that, sir.
fucking looping from like a Helix, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. And let's do some like other little like, you know, crazy synthesizers and beats. Which was in the demo version I sent you, it just wouldn't have worked. It just ends and it goes to compromise piece. It wouldn't have worked. It would have been really weird. So I'm like to myself, what do I do? And then I'm like, you know what, I want to make a track that is about me feeling in love, and then it gets like shut down immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm like to myself, just make that the fucking ending of Leopard. And that's what I did.
Okay.
Basically, Leopard is kind of like supposed to be my like emotions, I guess you could say, as a person. Like the awakening is like, you know, the awakening. You know, it's like kind of like it's a little intro track kind of. But it's kind of like how, you know, kind of wake up in the morning. I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of like a day in the life sort of kind of mixtape if you want to so much say.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's how I am. Kind of like calm, peaceful, you know, but it's a little bit chaotic. Then I go to Leopard where emotions are all place, and then like the second part is supposed to be just kind of like trying to get the day, but a bit paranoid, I guess you could say. I don't know, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was able to all calm down, and then it got like just destroyed. And a lot of people don't know this, but I record my vocals for the Worst Loving 12 hours before the actual mixtape was released.
Yeah.
And the reason why I did that was because I wanted everything to be done, then do that, and then officially be done.
Yes.
Be good send off. And I had that song written for a really long time, and I say a lot of things on that.
And you've told me this before with the album cover, the cover of the mixtape.
Yeah.
You know, you said
freaking baby.
Yes, it's you as a kid, but you told me the reason behind it if you want to say it yourself, sir.
So the original plan was I wanted to be something of me underwater.
Yeah.
But it was just way too complex, you know, obviously.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, what can I have as the cover then? And I said to myself, just pick a picture of me when I was happy. And I'm like, wait, just pick that picture of you as a baby, happy. Like, what's that one? Like, what's that? I was like, because I posted that photo like on Instagram like a year ago, And I'm like, oh, what's that one photo I posted on Instagram once? And I found it. I took a square photo of it and I edited it. And I'm like, I think this is going to be a good cover. And a thing with me, I know a lot of people are going to find this weird, but I like the cover to go along with the music well. And I feel like that cover really goes along with the music well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why.
Because
I was happy, you know.
yeah, because I kind of like that concept of it. Like it's like because it kind of fits perfectly with the sense of the album. It's like
A lot of people could say it's like, oh, you were like fucking 2 years old, but it's just like, I mean, it was kind of like a last minute thing. But if
but
I really had to sit down and have a lot of money, be able to do a legit cover, I would have done that cool thing. Or I had this concept when I originally wanted to do like as an album. I had this idea of like a close up photo of me like looking all sad and shit, like something like that, and like having like paint and stuff,
yeah,
something like that. I don't know. I don't know. So, but I like the cover that I picked. I thought it worked well. So
but I did too. So when it came time, like let's just say it was the day beforehand, before the mixtape. What was running through your mind? What were you like? You know, the next day I'm gonna release this thing. Like, what's gonna happen? You know, like what was running through your mind at that point, like the day beforehand?
so a lot of thoughts are going through my head that day. What's the outcome of this? Where am I going to go next as an artist? What's my next mixtape going to be?
Yeah,
It's just like, because I want to start working on my mixtape, right this goddamn second.
yeah,
Which maybe I might start doing. I don't know. Maybe I don't know because summer's starting for me very very soon. It's like, do I want to work my ass off this summer, make something dope as hell, then release it?
yeah.
I don't know. Just there's a lot of thoughts going through my head.
Is like if one day, if to say one day, if someone big was to hear this, just this is just a big what if. What would be like kind of your reaction to that? What would your reaction?
Like, do I want to hear it?
Would you want someone big to hear it, or like
Of course. I mean, I think every artist wants it.
yeah,
Stuff, but who would I want to hear it?
I guess yeah, let's go with that. Who would you want to hear it per se?
Daft Punk.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Like, Daft Punk is like the number one group or any artist I want to work with.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if I was to work with Daft Punk, I feel like I would have so much more potential. Like, I feel like my ideas, because, dude, like I've said this a lot before, they have the best production I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yes.
They are so careful of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and their sound quality is so great. Like, I feel like we would have a lot of potential. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If it wasn't for Daft Punk, probably The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But bro, I mean, Daft Punk is like
A whole number level.
my biggest inspiration.
Yeah.
In the future, artistically, like I don't want to do a lot of live performances unless it's something grand and unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Pharrell just talked this on his show on Beats on Apple Music because he was talking to someone from, I believe, who was involved with Coachella. And he said the best performance his favorite performance they ever had was Daft Punk, and they're like, oh, because Pharrell, was obviously connected to Daft Punk, Thomas and Guyman,
Yeah.
whatever, because of Get Lucky and Lose Yourself to Dance.
Yes.
And he said like they and he basically confirmed they're not doing a live 2017 because they don't want to repeat what they've already done. They want to do something grand and unexpected, and that's kind of what I want to do. If I'm ever going to do a live performance, which I don't know if I'm ready for, but I mean I could do looping and stuff, but I want it from some stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be unexpected and grand, which
Yeah.
will cost a lot though. So I'm just waiting for the future.
So kind of to add on to that question, would you perform this whole mixtape on stage?
Oh, of course, dude.
Yes.
I would love to perform. That's like I told you this before. The field I want to go into the most, if it wasn't for like making music, doing like producing stuff, would be like concert fields, like arenas, like designing, like dude, like the St. Pablo tour was the show I wanted to go to the most. I was going to go to it, and then fucking Kanye had to
Yeah.
step away for a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
that just like opened my eyes to fucking everything.
Yeah.
I was just like, I have so much possibility, especially in arenas, which I don't think is ever gonna happen to me. But it's like, bro, it'd be so dope, you know?
Yeah.
You know, have all this open field. Stadiums, I don't want to do stadiums.
Yeah.
Stadiums are like too big for me. Like it's just too open. Arenas are like perfect for me. They're closed in. You know, it's you can do a lot more. You know,
Imagine hearing like a song like Detective Madness live.
that's the song I want to perform the most live. Actually,
Like, just imagine hearing a song like that live.
the bass of that song's crazy. If you listen to it on
Yes.
like there's like with good subwoofers, that shit goes crazy, dog.
Hmm.
Like, um, here's the thing.
Oh, I don't
Because
mean to cut
because
you
of
off.
like Kanye West and Daft Punk, and other artists too. You know, I make hip hop's a favorite genre. Like I'm like a lot of people know it's like electronic music's not my favorite genre. Like hip hop's
Yeah.
like my shit. You know, like R and
Hmm.
B and stuff like that. And like you know, like because of Kanye West, like all these fucking artists are like theatrical performances now. That's what I want to do. So if
Hmm.
I were to do like a performance, um, like let's say like a live 1997 style, I would do it like that kind of like very like lightsy
Yes.
kind of grand because there was some footage of live 1997 and it's like kind of clubs, smaller arena, smaller venues. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I would like to perform at places like the House of Blues and be able to have like a set like that with the lights and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
there might be some like legal issues with that type of stuff. I was gonna do other stuff than that, which I would like to do other stuff than just lights. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
Some easy start stuff.
Also, I feel like if this mixtape was kind of public, like say if it was like on Spotify or Apple Music or so, say something like that, I feel like the most popular track would be Detective Madness.
I have that at Freebird, the first
Yeah.
level. That's fine.
Yeah. I definitely do think so.
I
I
mean,
feel like
what was the most successful single? So
wait, what?
the Tech of Madness was by far the most successful single. It
Yes.
had like 10, almost 10 plus likes. It had almost 150 views. So.
Yes. So yeah, and rightfully so, because like I've mentioned before, I do think it's the best song off of the mixtape. So,
Yeah,
so
I think it's also like the best mixed and best sounding, most
yeah,
full.
definitely. Especially if you're hearing it on headphones, like towards the end when you can
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was a nice touch.
yeah.
I thought it made it more chaotic. So
Hmm. So yeah. Really, the only last thing I kind of want to mention to you is like what's next? What does Mr. Auburn Wanderer have next in his catalog? What's next for you? What is like where do you want to go now from here? Like, or is it just like, I didn't think I would get this far with this. I have no idea where I'm going now. Well, what's your mindset right now of where you want to go next?
we're talking about this earlier today, actually, and
Yeah.
you know, there's so many things I want to do,
Hmm.
but the main goal is to when I feel when I anticipate to get semi big electronically.
Yeah.
I'll be able to do venues then. I'm gonna have to work my ass off, but can't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
Um, but my goal is to have a big enough catalog to have the most extreme show possible. The most variety. That's kind of the
Yeah.
goal. Mixtape wise, that because of that, I'd have to really experiment. And I told you this. I feel like electronically, I feel this is kind of a bit of experimental type, mixtape.
Yeah.
A lot of people do electronic mixtapes. Mixtapes are like fucking hip hop now. I just want to have a wide variety. I told you this. Something I want to make the most is hip hop. I feel like I have a lot of potential,
Yeah.
and with that, I'd actually would have to probably have help production wise. Which I mean, I guess I'll do. I really like producing stuff on my own. It's like I'd rather just be able to produce stuff on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna go from here. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna release something else this year. Quickly, little mini type project.
Maybe
Next
like an
year,
EP or
I
something.
will have a full. I will have like a full mixtape next year though.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yes.
I don't know what it's gonna be. I would like it to be a hip hop thing, and for that, I probably would have to start working on it very soon.
Yes.
If I were to produce it myself and get maybe some up, I don't fucking know. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of it. I mean, um, like, it's just like, now that it's out, this is like the only body of work that I really wanted to make. So there's other things I wanted to make. I mean, the thing my something I really want to do in the future is I really like collab type projects. Which I know might sound weird since I learned to produce stuff on my own, but it's like I have this like ideas for like famous artists, like specifically some artists
Yeah,
that I really like. Um, um, to make some cool shit,
yeah,
But that would be some Daft Punk level type stuff, which would be really hard to fucking reach.
yes,
I mean, I'd have to really, build a name for myself,
yeah,
which electronically is very hard to do. So I would have to reach out, which I want to do too. So I
yeah,
mean, people should not think I'm just doing this to have fun. I mean, I'm doing it to have fun, but also like I want this to be my career.
yeah.
So which is hard to do, but it's like maybe I can do it. We'll have to see anyway.
Well, I believe in you. I think you could do it, sir. I think you have enough potential in order to do it.
Thank you very much, sir.
So, any last closing words you want to say? Any, anything else you got to say really before, wrap this up and whatever?
Thanks everyone for the support so far. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this gave a lot more context to what the mixtape was about, my inspiration, how it was all made basically. Um, so yeah, if anyone has any questions, leave them down below, and if I see them, I will answer them the best of my ability. So sorry for going on for too much. This is kind of like my first like legit interview thing.
Yes. So yeah, so if you ever become famous in the near future, you know who your first official interview was. So yeah.
And I will come to you if you are free for another interview, my boy.
Oh, definitely. This was actually a lot of fun to do. Got really emotional, really personal, but that's what you wanted for this
Yeah,
interview.
that's kind of what I wanted. So
Yeah. So I definitely was great, to hear
yes.
all that and hear more context of what this mixtape was basically about.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time out of your day or night, whatever the fuck you are right now, boy. Even though you're very close to me.
Yeah.
To take do this. So yeah, thank you much again, sir. I really appreciate it, and thank you everyone for checking this out. And if you haven't heard my mixtape yet, I really hope you check it out. And yeah, and thank you for the positive feedback, by the way, my boy.
Yes.
So yeah, that's oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alrighty. So thank you all for watching this interview. I gladly appreciate it. And I'm Film Fan 0599, and we'll see you all later. Peace.
Goodbye.